Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Hello, everyone. All. What is going on tonight here on YouTube? It's Saturday night, and hopefully this is the first of 2 live reviews, because I am superior to the man. For I am the man himself right here on YouTube, and we are live for my live review of this past week's episode of AEW's Dynamite. I was hoping to get caught up with these earlier this week, but as always, life happens. But I am doing my best to stay on track, to be, awake enough, and to, do these at proper times, and trying to do these reviews live. Now, I'm going to go live here. The man is going to go head across the hall to the restroom after this review, take a nice bubble bath, and then come back on here, all fresh and clean. No beard, by the way. I'm going to shave tonight. Don't tell my fiance. And I'll be back here to review SmackDown to get caught up with that stuff. I am hoping, maybe, I'll get the last part of the Roller Coaster Tycoon Let's Play done for Evergreen Gardens. But, we'll see. Because life is busy. Life throws curveballs at you, but I'm here. And I'm trying my best, my damnedest, to go live more often. But yes, we are here live to talk about this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Took place this past Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023, in Phoenix, Arizona. And I definitely thought this episode of Dynamite was better than last week's. Last week's was okay, but it was one of those episodes that felt like, although Dynamite has been better lately, it felt like it exposed some holes, some inconsistencies in some storytelling. But I think this week I kind of mapped out a little bit better, somewhat, of the direction they're going with some of these stories, as we're getting ready to go into AEW's Revolution 2023, taking place next Sunday, March 5th, 2023. I will watch it. I will do a live review of it probably Monday, because it'll be too late for a show over on Sunday. I am worried again about how many matches they're going to have. Is there 6 or 7? But there seems to be tease of adding more in there. You would think they would do Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, or maybe of course Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Which, by the way, I know Keith Lee's been on Rampage since he just came back. Not this past week, the week before. What is up with the gray hair on Keith Lee? I'm sorry, I saw the pictures. The gray hair makes him look so old, to the fact that I don't even want to watch him wrestle, because I just look at him and I see someone who's all worn out. It's unbelievable that an appearance could kind of throw concerns at you. Like how the Viking Raiders, when their name got completely changed and butchered when he got called to the main roster. Keith Lee and his hair, I'm like, Keith, I love you, buddy. I know you can easily be the face of any company you're a part of. You gotta get rid of the gray hair. So, there's still some possibility that more matches will be added. Of course, again, with it having the 1 hour Iron Man match, I am worried that pay-per-view is going to go way too long. You know, it may, but we will see what happens. But we're going to talk about the show. We got the live chat going with Tyler here, saying quit putting Bryan in never-ending title shots. I believe this probably will be the last one because, I mean, I think MJF is going to be champion for a while. And he gave this show a C-. And AEW needs to cut down on pay-per-views. Why is that, man? Because they only have, 4 or 5 a year? I mean, because they're going to be having Forbidden Door and whatnot. But, yeah, there's only 5 a year. You think they will get worse? Isaiah Swerve versus Keith Lee at Revolution, Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy. I think they should at least do Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. But I feel like we could hold off on Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. I think that one could use a little bit more build to it. So yeah, maybe not put that one on Revolution. And Broken Matt needs to return. They could slowly, of course, be, teasing a return of Broken Matt Hardy when Jeff Hardy comes back. Which, by the way, there was an update that I posted on my Instagram page. Which, again, if you want instant updates, instant news, instant reactions, all that fun stuff, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. But I did find out, according to TMZ, Jeff Hardy and his third DUI case has been closed. According to TMZ, he submitted a no contest plea, and he was originally sentenced to 38 days in prison, but was credited those days for previous time serviced. He will though serve the following punishments: have his license suspended for 10 years, on probation for 2 years, court-mandated DUI school or drug rehab program, wear an interlock device for 2 years, and community service, and $4,586 in fines and court fees. Yowie, wowie. But of course, he still, of course, does remain on contract with AEW. He, though, is still currently suspended, and there is no timetable on his return. Which, as I keep saying also, this stuff with Matt Hardy being held by the firm, again, I think it's just temporary, just to, hold over until we get the return of Jeff Hardy, which, again, could still be, a little bit away. But, of course, we will, in fact, wait and see. Anything else in the live chat? That was a savage promo from MJF. It was, and we will talk about that, of course. Bryan Danielson should be world champion in AEW someday. I don't know if he will. I mean, as a Bryan Danielson #1 fan, I would like it, but I feel like the time may have passed, because doesn't his contract expire this year or next year? I can't remember when it does. But I do think, though, again, MJF should be world champion for a long time. So I think the days of Bryan Danielson winning the title might be numbered. If there was any time he probably should have won the title, it was this past fall. Whenever they had, whenever Punk had to vacate it, I think that's when he should have put it on. Because he already had it on Moxley, so why not just put it on Bryan instead? Let me see here. Who do you think Adam Cole's first match is going to be? That's a good question. I really don't know. I have no idea. You think Mandy Rose will debut Revolution? I think I don't know at Revolution, because I can't remember when she was fired and when her non-compete clause expired. I have a feeling she may be on her way. And again, I will explain why when we get to the women again. Otama would say to cut down on matches on pay-per-views. That I do agree with. As Homer Simpson would say, boring. Are they doing a Face of the Revolution ladder match on Dynamite next week, or are they actually going to do it at Revolution? I saw there was the announcement of that I saw, I guess maybe on Rampage, but again, I don't watch Rampage, so it might just be on Wednesday, but I will have to wait and find out, of course. But yeah, we're going to roll in and start talking about this. Like I said, I want to go get cleaned up after this and then come back and do the SmackDown review to get everything caught up with wrestling-wise, at least, before this week. Because with it being a pay-per-view, me doing previews, and it's also the season premiere of Survivor, so I want to watch that on Wednesday as well. So it is going to be busy this week, as it is for me anymore. But the man himself needs to roll forward. We'll talk about the show. Starting off, we opened up with an AEW All-Atlantic Championship match. The champ himself, Orange Cassidy, taking on the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club. I actually completely forgot going into this match that these two do have history. As, of course, briefly, I think when one of the members of Best Friends was out to injury, Wheeler Yuta was with Best Friends. And he did, leave them for Bryan Danielson when Danielson was a heel. But then, of course, they formed the Blackpool Combat Club, and then, dynamics aligned. Of course, though, this is a show, and I will be real. Ever since Regal left, and they kind of just randomly had Bryan Danielson go on his own way, even though they teased a breakup, but I don't think they fully established a breakup on screen. Bryan Danielson split from the Blackpool Combat Club. They kind of felt a little bit pointless. But this show is kind of like where you felt the mission statement of them change. Over from we are wrestlers to we want to beat the crap out of you, basically. Because this match between Cassidy and Yuta was pretty good. And there was a point in the match where the Ring of Honor World Champion comes out, Claudio Castagnoli, and he slaps Wheeler Yuta across the face as he's at ringside and says, "Come on, get it done." And the match went to a different direction. I mean, it was hard hitting, it was physical, but it went a whole different level after that. Eventually, though, Orange Cassidy was able to pull off the win with the Orange Punch, retaining the AEW All-Atlantic title, which, again, was definitely a phenomenal match. After the match, though, Orange Cassidy offers to hug his former friend, but then Claudio comes back down again, and Wheeler Yuta just leaves. So, we have that, of course, with the Blackpool Combat Club, not so much sportsmanship like it used to be. And then speaking of which, the person who would be fighting Jon Moxley in the main event, Evil Uno, is backstage. Him and Hangman are being interviewed. Evil Uno says he's heard Paige talk so many times, and he's asked for them to stay out of his business. And all he hears is Dark Order isn't on Hangman's level. So he wants Adam to stay away tonight so that he can prove why his name is Evil Uno. So, again, some interesting pieces there, but that's going to be said more for the main event later on the show. Then we have Ricky Starks come out. So he basically goes a different route with trying to get another crack at Chris Jericho. Yes, he did not win that gauntlet, which of course is something different, but he kind of has something else up his sleeve. So he comes out and he says he does not want to miss out on being on the card at Revolution. So he's here with a signed contract for an open challenge, and he wants somebody to answer it. Chris Jericho, though, does come out, and he's like, no, Ricky, I see what you're doing here. You want to bait me into another match. And yeah, you're not getting it. So he knows he can beat Ricky anytime, any place, anywhere, but it won't happen because simply he's not on Jericho's level. He got lucky once, so good luck this open challenge, and he hopes it goes well for him. Then enters Peter Avalon, who wants to answer the open challenge, but Jericho's like, bitch, no, and hits the Juice effect on him. Chris then comes down and says this is what happens with an open challenge. Maybe he should take the contract and embarrass his stupid ass. And Ricky tells him, you can sign it, but we all know what will happen. And it's like, so now he's like, he is trying to bait him in here. He is trying to, basically try to shrink Jericho down to size. He says, you can sign the contract, but I don't know what will happen. Maybe the JAS will jump him again. But he wants to know, is he the Chris Jericho who beat two legends in one night? Does he really need JAS to beat, of all people, Ricky Starks? And then Jericho was like, you think you can't beat me one-on-one? And Starks says he believes Jericho can beat him. But Jericho says, you're right, I can beat you, and I can beat you one-on-one because he's one of the best to ever do this. So he signs a contract and adds stipulation that the JAS are banned from ringside, but except though he can't because he don't have a pen. Ricky's like, right here. And then Jericho takes it and then signs it. And he says, okay, fine. You got me for Revolution. But be careful what you wish for because nobody outsmarts the Ocho. So, kind of like, okay, you may beat me, but I don't know if you think you can beat me without, your JAS cronies or whatnot. So, basically, Ricky Starks again goaded in Jericho to a match. And it worked. So we have that match. Then we have this tag match with the Acclaimed and Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. The match was solid. The Acclaimed does win with the mic drop. They're just, again, getting ready for their Fatal 4-Way at Revolution. Don't get why it's a Fatal 4, but they're also waiting to see who the third team will be in the Battle Royale later on in the show. So then we have Christian Cage after that being interviewed. But then Jungle Boy comes out and attacks him. Sets up for the concerto, but he then stops and he's like, wait, what is this? What is this? Ain't me. But then finally he, gets himself together, but then it took too long because Christian Cage low blows him and grinds, and he gets bashed with the chair himself. So we're basically, like I said, I think that this story has enough to do a match at Revolution. So we'll see what happens next week if they go with that or not. We have Sky Blue and Saraya. Saraya had a solid performance again. This is, I think, the first singles match she's had since her return match against Britt Baker at Full Gear. Saraya wins with a submission. It was a solid match from her and Sky Blue. Afterwards, though, they get ready to spray paint blue with the green L, but then Jamie Hayter stops them. But as they go to leave, out comes the middle woman, Ruby Soho. And at first, we're basically like, what? Ladies like, well, whose side you picking? But Ruby was like, I didn't care about that. I want the title. And it sets up a triple threat match at Revolution. Jamie Hayter, Saraya, and Ruby Soho. I'm pretty sure it's a triple threat, and I hate to say this, but I'm probably assuming that Ruby Soho's in a match just to eat the pin, because I don't think you should put the title on Saraya yet. but I don't want to see her eat a pinfall loss in this match. But what I was saying earlier when I asked about Mandy Rose, I think she should, because, so, I am intrigued, as I keep saying, with this stuff with Saraya being a heel. Again, it was random. And again, I think the whole point is Saraya is trying to play the character she was supposed to play when she came back in 2017 and formed Absolution, which is also Mandy Rose was in that stable. So that's why I think Mandy Rose will eventually, once she's available, go to AEW and basically do what she was supposed to do with Saraya before. But I still, again, think that they're just somewhat dragging their feet with this. Yeah, they've kind of, like, mapped out what's going on, but I feel like they haven't, like, executed it properly yet. Like, why are you having Saraya, who just got done feuding with Britt and Jamie, they were heels, and then just 1 week later, it's like you reversed the rules. So, I still think a lot of people think they're trying to get this to blood and guts, which I wouldn't be opposed to. The story, though, again, has just been weird. Like I said, we know what's there, but we can't quite, like, we need to actually have it, like, come unfolded on TV, I feel like, first. But we'll see where that goes, of course. Then, of course, we have this very, very personal promo with Bryan Danielson and MJF. So Bryan comes out and says it's great to be back in Phoenix. He gets Thunderous Yes chants, and I think, of course, he's probably popular there also because his wife, Brie Bella, is from Scottsdale, Arizona, I believe. Anyways, he basically wants to cut to the chase and talk about everything that's going on with MJF. And he plans on beating MJF in the Iron Man match at Revolution. But he wants to, though, address what MJF said last week. He mentioned that he hates Bryan Danielson. But then again, MJF tried to break one of his best friend's arms last week, Christopher Daniels, but he hates Bryan Danielson. Why didn't he try to break Bryan's arm? He's put a bounty on his head and tried and injure him so he won't be able to get to the pay-per-view. But he hates that? He hospitalized his mentor, William Regal, but he hates Bryan? So MJF comes out and says that Bryan might have these schmucks twisted, and he actually knows, though, who he really is. And he knows who he really is. He's the guy who got stranded and everybody looked up to. Got stranded like trash by everyone who's ever claimed they loved him. And then he met a girl who convinced him not everyone in this world is bad. And became the man who wanted to spend his life with her. And she left him hanging. And now the only thing left in his life he can trust is this world title. Which apparently there was a lot of truth that MJF's fiance did in fact leave him. Or they did split up. But basically MJF is saying stuff like, you know, I hate you because you got what I got. And he basically goes back to what he was doing when he was chasing for the title, saying how, you know, I try to be a good person, but I have to be this bad person because that's the only way I'm going to succeed. And he gets even more personal, talking about his concussions, and he starts talking about Bryan's kids, which then leads to Bryan and MJF brawling, and referees had to break them up. But Danielson won't give the fight up and gets away and blindsides MJF on the floor. So, again, like I said, what's unique about MJF as a heel, well, as he always should be, but what makes him one of the best heels, again, is he speaks a lot of truth. And, again, like, when you have, like, a strong reason, like MJF, with this character of like, yes, he does bad things, but we still love him. But he admits that he tries to do things right, but obviously it gets him nowhere, so he's got to do these things. And, he's got to play the mind games. And, yes, he may say he hates Bryan Danielson, but yeah, he's taking it out on everybody else. He's beat up everybody else instead of him. But of course he admits that, Bryan, you're the guy, that I just wish I was. And that's why he hates him. But of course, can MJF survive a 60-minute Iron Man match? That we'll have to find out. Then we got, first we had the triple threat women's title match made official. Then we got this battle royale for the third spot in the AEW tag title match, the Fatal 4-Way at Revolution. And it was won by Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. I do not get, yes, it's probably setting up for the 4-team, which will battle in a casino battle royale next week. But it's probably going to set up for FTR to return, because they do have some history, of course, with the Gun Club. The Gun Club are the ones that wrote them off TV, actually. But I don't get what Tony Khan has this obsession with Jeff Jarrett. Like, why has he given him such a big spotlight since he came back? It's like he's still pretty past his prime. And I just do not care. But I don't get why, again, they continue to just give him these opportunities. Especially with how much that he's lost. But we'll see how that goes. And again, it's probably, if FTR shows up, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be seeing Lethal and Jarrett win those tag titles. Even though they fooled me once with that match at, what was it? Crap. I think it was right before Full Gear. I can't remember exactly what it was, but, all that. Okay, here was kind of a blunder, and probably the lowest part in this show. But we have Renee Paquette interviewing Tony Khan. And it was hyped up that there was this big announcement happening for AEW tonight from Tony Khan. And the announcement basically was that in March, he brings in Adam Cole to announce that in March, after Dynamite, there's going to be a new 1-hour series after Dynamite every week called AEW All Access. Basically, so unfiltered looks at AEW stars behind the scenes. And then that same night that All Access debuts, Adam Cole's going to be making his return. Did that kind of feel flat? Like, okay, cool. They get a shot at reality television, which is different. Yes, Adam Cole is coming back to wrestle, but to me, it's like that wasn't a huge surprise with Cole coming back. And the reality show, it was like, people do like them, yes, but are they really, really that popular? I don't know. That announcement kind of just felt a little flat. It felt a little too overhyped. Not as disappointing as it was with the reveal of Kurt Angle's secret, when it ended up being that he had a one-night stand and gave birth to Jason Jordan, pretty much, or whatnot. But it was still a little disappointing, but we'll see how AEW does when they get the opportunity in that market. And the main event was Jon Moxley and Evil Uno, which was good. But I believe Evil Uno had broken an artery or something like that during the match. And when Moxley put him in that bulldog choke or whatnot at the end, Evil Uno started bleeding from inside his mask. It was hard hitting. It was spooky, but Moxley wins by referee stoppage. Again, his Shield brother and Seth Rollins is the king of match stoppages. But after the match, Dark Order come out though to make the save as Blackpool Combat Club start healing up a little on Evil Uno. Hangman and Adam Page though came out with some different music, which I don't know if that was an error or what. But him and Moxley fight, and basically the Blackpool Combat Club acted like heels in this. Which I wonder if that's a sign that they're turning the three of them heel. I mean, Claudio, man, I'd rather see him be a face. Wheeler Yuta, either one. Mox, though, I'm kind of ready to see heel John Moxley. Like, don't get me wrong, I love babyface John Moxley, but I feel like heel John Moxley will have a lot more to offer. So, the big question, of course, for sure, is where does Blackpool Combat Club stand? Again, has their mission statement changed? Are they trying to be more than just wrestlers? We'll have to find out as we do have the go-home show to Revolution next week. Live chat, really quick. Andrade needs to come back to AEW. I think he's out of that tricep injury now, so maybe a few more months for him. House of Black should become the Trios champs. They did tease like some things similar to like the QR code for Bray Wyatt, which then led to the House of Black. So we still could get that match. I'd like to see a little more build for it first, so before we do that Trios tag match. But it will be awesome, I think. He's sick of Jeff Jarrett always winning as well. He's retired. I agree. Yes, again, I don't get why Jeff Jarrett's there either, Tyler. They have no buy-in matches announced. No buying matches announced for Revolution. That is true. They might have to put a couple on there, though, because like I said, we can't do too many matches, be up all night, and there's a 60-minute Iron Man match. Do you think Ricochet will go to AEW? I don't think so. As long as Triple H is around, I think he'll stay in WWE. MJF's a great heel, but he would be an even better babyface. He could, because he's very convincing, but, we shall see. Tyler usual AEW is full of their egos. What I would have said, that problem with MJF is, I would have said that I beat him so bad he went back home to WWE. If he does beat him at Revolution, maybe. But that's going to do it, guys. Again, I'm getting a little sleepy, heavy-eyed, but I'm going to take a quick little bath just to relax and enjoy myself. I'll be back up here live, hopefully after that, if I'm not too tired. So I was starting to get a little bit of a sleepy spell here. She saw me kind of losing my train of thought. But again, I'm sorry, guys. But I gave this show a B. What are your guys' thoughts on this episode of Dynamite? I gave it the B. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Be sure, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at The Club with the Man 93. And follow me on TikTok and Instagram at The Club with the Man 1993. Hopefully, guys, again, I will see you shortly. Gotta kind of give myself a second wind a little bit here. But if not, I'll catch you guys all later. We'll see how I feel after my bath. Check it out, guys. Catch y'all later. Peace out, everybody.